Okay, part 3. Go on to the audio.
To take their money, their cash out of the banks at this time.
Yes. Get it out of the banks quickly, convert it to gold and silver coins, food, supplies, have water, have means of protection, and being, if you're in a big city, any big city in the United States, Canada, or Europe, even if you're staying in the city, have a route to get out of the city quickly when you see the signs occurring. Make sure that you know how to do civil defense if there's a nuclear explosion that occurs in the city, or the release of a biological, which is also another possibility because I've been having images of release of a pandemic, and I don't know when it's going to occur, but I know that it's not just a single event that's going to occur here with a nuke, that there's going to be a pestilence that's going to occur perhaps after that.
Yeah,
I believe that the first event will be financial, the second event is nuclear, and the third event is a pestilence, a spread of an avian flu.
Okay, I
1, 2, 3.
This as well.
Yeah, those are the three sequences: financial, nuclear, pestilence with avian flu.
Okay. Phil, in terms of the questions that the people listening to this will be asking, and the PR that surrounds a so-called terrorist event, just like it did surrounding 9/11, what would the public presentation, or rather what would the presentation to the public be of the connection between any financial situation and a nuclear event that would be based on an enemy state or an enemy group? Is this going to be presented as a coincidence?
Well, one of the visions that I had last night was I saw a number of senior leaders of the Saudi Arabian royalty contacting the members of the Bush administration and senators and demanding that this bailout money be given first in line to them and to their banks because they're teetering, which I thought was kind of strange. And that they wanted to be first in line, and that there was a lineup of banks, and the issue was who was going to get the first dibs at this money, which is basically buying bad debt. It's almost like buying, buying something worthless and mortgaging the future of Americans. So it's literally, it's like taking people's property and literally throwing it into a pit. And the people are lining up in these countries to see who's going to get first dibs on that. Who's going to get this debt? Who's going to be able to haul it away, and sell it to America and get real assets? What I feel is that this is primarily to bail out European and Arab banks that insisted on it. That there have been some deals going on that between these various power brokers and those that are talking about doing a false flag. And one of the things that I saw many years ago in 1988 was a vision of high above the Strait of Hormuz, and the strait was cut off. This was not an act by Iran. It was an act by our side, and the strait stopped. There was no shipping, and in an instant the world economy crashed. And this was the fulcrum event that actually started the movement toward the final invasion of the Middle East by Communist China, and the events that are going to transpire in the next years.
Okay, Bill, can I ask you, have you shared this information that you're getting this morning with for example, your own family?
Yes, I have, yeah.
Okay.
I shared it with my wife, and she understands, because when these happen, sometimes I can have little pieces that don't make sense, but when they start to come together, I know it's very close to the event. And this is like the morning I woke up, and I was having a terrible time on the day of 9/11. And I was, having these spasms of pain, but the intensity with which I had it this morning was 100-fold worse than at the time of 9/11.
Okay.
This is really bad. Whatever it is, I can feel it coming on almost like a very serious sickness to the whole body of mankind. Like an attack and of course of trying to force the timeline of mankind toward an eventuality of destruction rather than of liberation. And I believe, of course, that we can change that, but unfortunately, I don't see the signs of the intervention happening or people waking up enough to kind of steer us away from that. And the worst part is the fear, because what I see happening is a massive increase in fear, which is an astral or spirit sacrifice to these higher Luciferic gods, if you want to call them, the trans-dimensional entities I mentioned. Fear is actually, you want to call almost like, the movie for children, Monsters, Inc. It's literally they drink it for their energy.
Right.
It's actually almost, yeah.
I'm wondering, because of your background, whether or not you feel that this is the sort of thing that you could communicate to the authorities, or is it simply that the authorities at this point are just so compromised that telling
authorities
them,
are doing it. The authorities are
yes,
doing it. If you're
understand
lower down
that,
in the,
the
tries to notify lower,
yeah,
the lower echelon would probably be interested, but once it gets to higher, they'd wonder why. They're very well aware that I have.
Yeah, I mean, the
one of the
secret
highest levels
agencies
of,
must know that you're getting this information. They must know you're in contact with us. Did you call us because...
Oh, absolutely. No, I called you because I was told, I woke up, I was having these, and I said, what am I supposed to do? And and the Spirit told me, you must go to your study, and you've got to just sit there, and then you'll receive it. And I was just sitting there, and I said, oh, I'm supposed to call somebody. So I started going through my list and trying to pray and discern it. And then I said, they're in Australia, I can't contact them. And the Spirit said, try to Skype. And of course, Bill was receiving on Skype. I said, okay. And then I said, oh, I forget that. And then Spirit said, you must go to the phone directory and just dial a number. I said, well, it won't work in Australia. And I dialed your number, and you were there. So that's the kind of level of communication I have. It's instantaneous, and it's, events like this happen to me every day. It's not unusual. I mean, if I was to write all of the events that happen, it would take an encyclopedia.
Okay, thank you for that. It's very valuable.
Yeah, in other words, there's a connection at the highest realms, literally bringing this connection forward, because people are going to be in such a state of shock. And it's also, this is something else you need to know. I saw signs in the heavens. I saw, as I said, a red sky. I saw objects moving around in the sky that I don't recognize as normal aircraft. I saw things happening that were, very shocking to the people of the world. And I saw climate shifts and superstorms, and I saw things happening that just, droughts, famines, and things coming where the earth is literally going to go through some very, very amazing and frightening things that are what I call signs in the heavens.
Is there something that you're getting in terms of close events, in proximity to time?
Well, I think that
people can do to prepare themselves spiritually as well as physically. Do you understand? Because we're talking about people. There may be large amounts of people, even half past human. Cliff High has been getting that there may be as many as, what was the number?
22 million.
22 million people affected by what he saw as an event that at least began on October 7th.
Well, the number that I received many years ago from my contacts inside these lettered agencies that I work with was that when they do these events that affect one or more cities, that it will kill immediately between 200,000 and 2 million American citizens. And it will be in the core of large U.S. cities.
And at this time...
And it will be the start of pestilence and famines and other things. Well, the timeline that I think the financial events will be first. And as the banks start to collapse, this is going to be a runaway situation, which I believe will result in a bank holiday and people panicking. And just like they started to panic and start to yank their money out of last year out of Northern Rock in the UK. And then, of course...
Going on to part 4?